Hello everyone. So in this session we are going to talk about how to run a batch application in PCF. So when we talk about running any application on PCF, mostly we think of a long running process type of application where like web application or you have a SPA or any REST based services. These are the applications which will be running 24 by 7 on the container, and PCA will be keep monitoring on it. But there are other category of applications like batch application, and we do have many batch application in our IT environment where we want to run some of the application only for a particular duration and at a particular time only, and once the it executes the logic, then it is supposed to be stopped and running again on a particular time. So those kind of applications not need to be run on 24 by 7, otherwise it will add up the cost for your cloud compute usage. And people have the myth that in PCF we cannot run those kind of application because it has not been designed, or it is not been built around that, because PCF mostly runs the application with the type of the web type processes, right? Uh, so I want to break that myth. I want to show in this demo that how we can run a batch application in PCF. So for before we start that, let's try to understand what are the things we will be needing to run that. So we need to have a JDK 1.8. That is the first thing we would require. We need to have some Spring Boot knowledge because I'm going to use Spring Batch and Spring Cloud Task framework for this application. And we will be needing some one of the build tool like Maven or Gradle. So either one of the knowledge should be there, and then you can use any IDE like Eclipse, VSC, IntelliJ, so you can use that. Then we would need one PCF instance on which we will deploy the application, and then try to schedule also, okay, using the PCF scheduler. So these are the things we will be needing. So let's jump to build a basic simple Spring Batch application. So what I will do, let's go to the code and I will explain you what all things you need. So let's first go to the our build Gradle file. So we would need basically these two dependencies for running any Spring Batch application. The first one is going to give us all the batch core framework APIs. The second one is just to test any changes we put it, so it will enable the GNUT APIs for us. Okay, this third one will be required only for the Spring Cloud task, so I will explain that in detail when we talk about this Spring Cloud task flow. So these are the dependencies you would need. So let's jump to the main application. So any Spring Boot main application has to have a Spring Boot application annotation, so we'll be having the same here. And then we'll be using the enable batch processing annotation. So this annotation is going to help us to bring all the batch framework related uh, APIs. Okay, it will help us to auto configure those while starting the application itself. So we'll be having the job launcher, we'll be having the step builder APIs we'll be using for that. Okay, so let's go to the configuration class, which will basically have a definition of our jobs as part of the Spring Batch. So as I was talking about that job builder factory and step builder factory, all these APIs will be enabled and auto configured using that enable batch processing annotation. Okay, so we'll be just auto wiring it and then start using it out of the box. Okay, you can also customize that as well. That feature is also available. So let's talk about the jobs. So I will be basically having two jobs. Okay, so first one is this department processing job. I have taken just a simple use case where I will be having a employee records, and I have broken this job into smaller chunks, reader, processor and writer. So this is one type of writing the Spring Batch, breaking them into the smaller chunks. So reader will basically read flat file data, which will have the employee records, and then processor will be appending a department name in that each record based on some condition, and the writer is nothing but just printing it out the updated records. Okay, so this is just a small use case I have taken for the first job. The another job 2 I have created is using the another feature of a Spring Batch, which is called tasklet. So here you will be writing a task. Each tasklet will be doing a individual task, so it is not going to break into the chunks as we did in task 1, job 1. And so this will be just writing one task per tasklet, so you can define multiple tasklet on that way. Okay, so these are the two jobs you will be having it. Now for every job to run, there will be a command line runner, which will be initiated when you start the application. So we have written one overridden method run that will be called by default when you start the application, and that method is going to make the call for both of these jobs. So this is just a typical Spring Batch application. It will require the main application, then your configuration for all the jobs, what are the steps it has to do, and then you need a command line runner which will execute all these jobs for you when you start the application. The other files are having all the business logic of reader, processor and writer, which we talked about briefly, so we will not go deep into those. So let's push this application to the PCF. Okay, so I will be just running a command cf push, which will push the application to the PCF. So what PCF push does is it will get the configuration from the manifest file. So let me quickly open that manifest file and see what it is having the configuration. So if you look at the manifest file, it is having just the name of the application, how much memory it needs, then this is the path where our code will be, our jar file will be, and then we have defined no host and no route as a true because this is a batch application and we will not need any URL which we need to call from the browser, right? So I have put it, no need to generate any URL. So let's go back to this and we see it is starting the application by downloading all the build packs, and then it will create the droplet and deploy it. So while it is doing that, let's go to the PCF to have a look what all the things we have over there. Okay, so here is the our org we have where it is going to deploy the batch application. So it is going to refresh now. So if you see that batch example application has been deployed, and you see that it has been showing the status is crashed. So let's go into that and see why it is showing as crashed. Yeah, so if you see that application is being crashed with the type web, and that is usual behavior of the PCF, because when we deploy any application in PCF, it will create a droplet of that application, creating the runtime environment around it, and then create a new container and deploy it as a web process. But in batch application case, what we have done is we have executed some of the task steps, and once it is done, it is going to stop the application. But PCF does not understand that. It will find that your application is stopped somehow, and it will try to restart your application. Okay, so that's why if you see that it has been trying 3 times to restart that application even though it has completed the task. So if you look at the logs, this is what we have done in the writer, where we are writing the employee records after updating the department name in each record. Okay, but it is keep trying to restart that application 3 times as part of its process, and every time it is showing it is failing, because for PCF it is failed or crashed because application is trying to stop it. So now finally you will see the status as a crashed here. Okay, but now as if it is a batch application, we have to stop this application. So I'm going to stop this application so that it does not keep trying to restart the application and try to make it up and running, because that is not the behavior for batch application it would be. So what should be the behavior of the web batch application is, once you deploy the application, now I should be able to start that application based on my need. So either I should be able to run it as a task, CF run task, or I should be able to schedule it to run it at a particular time. So let's go to the taskbar and then see what are the things we can do in PCF. So in PCF there is one service called PCF Scheduler. So what PCF Scheduler does, it helps you to enable the scheduling. It will help you to run a particular task at a particular time based on the cron expression you define. Okay, so before we go to the PCF Scheduler to schedule it, I just want to show you that how I can run a manual task. Okay, so there is button, I will clicked on this button for running the task. So in this task what you can do is you can write a job. Okay, and let me just give it a small name, batch job. Okay, so I am starting a batch job, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a command. This command is specific to Spring Boot application. So any Spring Boot application, if you want to start it manually, you have to run this command. Okay, so that is applicable even in your local also. If you want to run it, you can run it your stopped application. Okay, so you can run that, and then we'll allocate the memory and disk space and then just run it. So if I run this task now, see, you'll see the status as a running right now, and you can go to the log, and now if you see it is trying to create a new container for us as part of this task, and then it is trying to start our application, batch application. So now if you see, we have all the records getting printed out here, and then finally it is destroying the container for us, stopping the instance and is destroying the container for us. Okay, so here it is done the job, it has successfully run our task. Go back to the tasks tab, and then you'll see the status showing succeeded. So that's the way batch job is supposed to run in PCF or in any other environment. It is supposed to trigger a start a application, execute all the steps, and then stop it, and that's what it will do. So that's the way we can run the manual task in PCF, and we can start the application. But in production like application, you won't want to run it manually. So either what you can do is you can take this command, behind the scene basically it is running a CF run task command. This is what is the command actually it is running. So it is running a CF run task command with the application name, and this is the actual command. Okay, so either you can schedule this command through the shell script or through the cron job script outside the PCF as well. So you can use Jenkins pipeline or Bamboo pipeline and make it part of your CI/CD whenever you want to schedule to start this batch application. The another method is to do it through PCF Scheduler. So let me quickly show it how to do it in PCF Scheduler. So first thing is you have to click this button to enable the PCF Scheduler. So what behind the scene it is doing is it is binding this your current application batch example with the scheduler service. Okay, and then it is asking you to restage the application. It is trying to restage the application, and once it is done, now let's go to the task tab. So now if you see, there is a new button has been appeared here, which is called create job. So in PCF Scheduler, what you can do is you can create the same job task which we created it as a manually. So you have to just give that command. Now here that one more field you will see is about the cron job expression. So this is the expression you can use to run it on a particular time period. Okay, so that's the way it works. So you can give this is the first attribute is for the minute, and it is I believe it is for the hours, and then it is every I think day of the month, and other parameters are there. So based on that you can create the job, and it will run that job based on particular colon expression we have created it. So this is the job it has created it now. Now if you want to run that also for timing to test it, you can run it that way, or if you want to edit it, it will allow you to edit the time of that particular colon expression if you want to change the timing of that. So that's the way it works. For timing I will just run it now to ensure if it is working fine. Otherwise it will be running every time when we want. So it is creating the container now. Let's go back to the task and see. So still it is okay. So now you see it has succeeded to complete the task. Okay, and you will see the same thing also here also running. Okay, so this is what it has run, and now it is completed it. So both places you will see the succeeded status. So that's the way it is PCF scheduler works. It can help you to schedule the batch job application. One more thing I wanted to show before we wrap up is about the Spring Cloud task. So this is the new, it's not actually new, it has been a couple of years it has come, but this is also you can use it to run the short-lived microservices. So it basically complements the batch processing. Okay, it along with this batch processing annotation, it provides a enable task annotation. What it basically does is it run your batch application as a task. Okay, and it will bring the feature of how to uh, store the task status on your task repository. So enable task behind the scene creates a task repository, and the task repository works with any persistent DB. Most of the RDBMS DBs it supports to store your current task status. So that is what you can use it to track your tasks, and you can monitor it. You can apply the logic of retriggering. So that's where this Spring Cloud task helps, and there's nothing more to do here. Just put this annotation around your main application. In configuration it will be the same jobs we created in our Spring batch. You can create those jobs, and it is going to execute it automatically. There's no command line runner also required. Not mandatory, but if you want to customize your job execution in a particular sequence, then definitely you would need the command line runner to run the jobs in particular sequence, but otherwise it will be automatically running all those jobs for you. Okay, so that is what it is features about, and we can just push this application also in PCF, and it will show you how to uh, run the task manually, same way what we have done it for the Spring Batch application. We can run it manually, as well as we can schedule it through the PCF scheduler. So that is the whole flow, whole process, how to deploy the batch application, how to run it manually, as well as how to schedule it. So that's what I wanted to cover today. Thank you very much. If you have any feedback, any comments, feel free to update it. I have a blog also around this which explain all these steps one by one, so you can go to my blog rajeshbhojwani.co.in. You can also subscribe to this blog for all my latest blogs to get it. Thank you very much.